Man, this stuff's good. How meathead is it?
It doesn't have the same effect. It doesn't have the same effect as the can opening.
How meathead is it to be drinking a protein shake on a podcast?
Oh, dude, it's all of the meathead.
No, but what in college? Yeah, really good, isn't it?
Yeah.
So in college, I was a part of the hard gainers group, which basically meant I couldn't put on weight very easily. And it was mostly out of laziness. I just didn't like to eat. Yeah.
I know where you're going with this one.
And I didn't like to eat, really. And so they had a group of us, I don't know how many, 15 of us, and they made us drink these Gatorade shakes after every practice or every workout.
Was it the pre-done ones or the ones that they had to mix?
Pre-done. Yeah, these are in a can, ready to drink.
Did you ever have the ones that they mix? Like usually after like camp, they'd make everybody have
No, this was literally the only supplements we got. We were a poor Division II school.
Oh, no, it was Gatorade. It was like a high-calorie drink, and it tasted like...
Well, see, I'm going the opposite of you. This stuff that we used to have was delicious. Like, really, really good.
No.
The problem with it was, I checked it one time, there was over 50 grams of sugar in these shakes.
Yep.
And I can remember, this is how just scared of life I was.
I love that they would tag it too, like, oh, these are protein shakes. It has like 9 grams of protein.
Yeah, 9 grams of protein, 50 grams of sugar. Yeah. And I remember literally I would drink only half of it because I didn't want that much sugar. So I'd throw the other half away. So it completely defeated the purpose of what they wanted us to do, which is drink these shakes. So anyway, I say all that to say these Jocko Molt ready to drink protein shakes, they remind me of that. But here's the beautiful thing. 30 grams of protein and 2 grams of sugar. That's it. 2 grams. That's nothing. That's like barely anything. And they taste just as good as something that has 50 grams of sugar. So
I think they taste better because I know the Gatorade, I'm throwing up the air quotes, protein drinks, they were okay. They were fine.
Yeah.
Remember back in the day, the cookies and cream muscle milk? Did you ever have that?
Again, we were poor. We didn't have any.
Oh, dude. That was
Somebody may have just drank a muscle milk, by the way. I'm not going to say who, but maybe a producer, perhaps.
Anyways,
he's drinking that unhealthy crap.
This was like the scoop it, and it was like literally, and I think same deal. It was like real chunks of Oreos and stuff in it. Anyways, but the Gatorade pre ones, they were okay. But we used to drink, and again, I'm not gonna say it. I don't actually know the taste of it, but I would imagine that this is what it was like, a vat of fluid that, yeah. Disgusting.
Afterbirth?
Sure, we'll go with that. But they used to make us these like the big Dixie cups.
Yeah.
The Gatorade ones you'd have on the sideline. We'd come in usually after our second practice of the day, and you'd have to drink this. Like the trainer would literally stand there, you'd have to throw it down, and they'd sign you off the list because it was like 350 calories or something like that in just that cup, and it was awful. And I thought that's where you're going with this, and I was like, "How dare you?"
No. So these are way better in every way.
Delicious.
In every way, these are way better than everything you just described. So, if you want to grab some, I don't even know if they've officially released it. I think we're exclusive here because of our partnership, but they're coming out with them here soon. These are ready to drink Molk from Jocko Fuel. They'll be at HEB.
Yep.
If you're here in Texas at HEB, or you can go to jockofuel.com and grab them on there as well. Like I said, high protein, low sugar, amazing taste. These are awesome. So go get you some.
You know what's awesome? So this week I've only had, we just got them over the weekend, or I guess the end of last week, and I've been to, I've worked out like 3 or 4 times since, and so easy just to throw this in my bag.
Oh yeah,
and ready to go post workout.
Very convenient. Yeah. Delicious.
Because they're great chilled, but they don't have to be.
Right.
That's what's great is it's like they taste delicious chilled. But
it's like a milkshake.
They taste really good and literally it's in my bag and it's boom, go. Because I've always got like a big tub of protein in my truck, and then I've got protein shakers, and I always leave my protein shakers in my truck inevitably, and then I have to throw away this protein shaker because it's disgusting. Yeah. So anyways, this is amazing.
Hey, and the vanilla ones, the last thing I'll say, the vanilla ones,
delicious.
I've started combining it with my cold brew in the morning. So now I've got a low sugar, high protein coffee creamer that's delicious with cold brew. So you're welcome for that suggestion.
Are you suggesting they go head to head with another brand that you like?
No. No. Anyway, get yourself to jockofuel.com or local HEB to get you some of that. On to today's topic, because today's topic is not about nutrition or fitness. Today's topic is mental wellness. And we talked about last week the number one key to happiness. And statistically speaking, what most people report as their number one key to happiness is their ability to control their own schedule. Yeah. And so then we talked about, pursuing your passions and what makes you, what brings joy to your life and what highlights your abilities and your talents and your interests. And I think all that's amazing and awesome, of course. I do want to dive in a little bit today as maybe a second part to this discussion, which is
like a part two?
Maybe a part two. We won't title it part two, but
a sequel?
Maybe a part two.
Okay.
And because I don't want the message to be, hey, life is all about you. Pursue whatever it is that you want. Damn everything else. That's certainly not what I want the message to be. I love the idea of going and pursuing your passion and going and pursuing what makes you happy. I love that idea. However, there are other things that make you happy, at least that make me happy, which is service to other people, having a mission, having things that are above and beyond myself is also a source, at least to me, of happiness. And I think most people would report that same thing.
100%. And even going back to last week's, and like happiness is control, right? Being able to control your day, control your... When I left, I had this kind of feeling too. It was like, man, there was a couple things like I wish that we had talked about a little bit. But it's perfect for today because reality is you can try to control your life as much as you want. But reality is life is, you're out of control. Mm-hmm. Because here's how it was actually just recently. After that episode, Jamin, who we had on the show, who's a pastor at my church and a good friend, and he sent me an article that was written by the guy that wrote the book, The Wisdom Pyramid, that we went through. Mm-hmm. And what he talks about how life is a river and we are the pebbles. So essentially, the river is going to flow. The river is time, right? It's always going to be moving. There may be times where you as a rock get settled into another cluster of rocks, a community, right? And you're there for a while. And you get to familiarize with that area, with the people, all that around you. And then there's times where a flash flood or a flood comes, or the tides and the current picks up, and it disrupts that community that you've been in for a while, right? Regardless, though, that's not your control. We really ultimately are at the mercy of time, and we are not ever fully in control of everything. So to your point, when we talk about service, regardless of time, regardless of all of the things that can or can't be out of our control, you can control having a mindset of serving others. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing I agree. The most joy, the most contentment, the most presence that I've ever felt has been the seasons where I've really focused on serving other people and not myself.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think I was actually listening to a Jocko podcast of all things, and they were talking about, the suicide rate among military individuals after they leave the military. And we don't see suicide in sports, the transition in sports necessarily as much, but there is that sense and that loss of a purpose when you transition away from sports. And it's the same thing in the military. You've lost that purpose. You've lost that mission. You've lost, in some ways, that team.
Yeah.
And so that's what they were talking about. They were talking about you need a mission and you need a team in life. And that's really what causes and creates that sense of purpose that you have. And so I think, again, that's not what this episode's about, but the transition is difficult a lot of times because you've had this mission, you've had this team for so long, you've had this tribe, all working for a common goal. Now you don't have that anymore. And so when you transition, it's like, where do I find that? Where do I replicate that? Yep. So yes, last week we talked about controlling your time as best as you can as being a source of happiness. But I think another source of happiness and joy and fulfillment is having that mission, having that tribe that you're a part of.
Yep.
And I think the overall goal, I just, when I reflect on the overall goal is are we after a happy life or are we after a good life?
Yeah.
And there's a bit of a difference. And the good life, and I'd love to hear your perspective. My perspective on a good life, when I aim for a good life, is one that has meaning for me, but it also positively impacts other people. And I'm doing good in the world. I'm making a positive impact in the world. I'm making a difference, if you will. I'm contributing my weight. That's what I think of when I think of living good. So yes, I can pursue happiness in a lot of different ways. Through drugs, through sex, through money. Those things can make me happy. Or I can pursue happiness the way that I think is valuable, which is, yes, I'm after my talents and I'm wanting to show my abilities, but I'm also impacting other people along the way.
Yeah.
And so when I think of a good life, that's what I think of. A life that has meaning for me is a life of purpose, a life of mission, a life of a tribe that's working in the same direction.
Yeah. So one of my favorite songs all time is Three Wooden Crosses by Randy Travis. Mm-hmm. And, there's a line in the chorus that he says, it's not what you take when you leave the world behind. It's what you leave behind when you go. Mm-hmm. And to your point, the difference between a good life and a happy life, you're going to constantly pursue a happy life and never, ever find it, in my opinion, right? If that's what you're looking for, is I'm looking to be happy.
You'll find moments of it is what you're saying.
You'll find moments, right? But overall, like, there's always going to be something more, right? You're going to get to that happy place and you're going to look at somebody else's happy place.
It goes back to that dopamine discussion we had.
Exactly. But ultimately, everybody that's alive today is 2 generations away from being completely forgotten. Mm-hmm. I mean, most people.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say there's
right.
there's a 0.1% chance maybe that might be in the history books, right?
Yeah.
But you're 2 generations from being forgotten. But the impact that you make can change the future indefinitely. And what you do around you, the impact that you make, the people you serve, can literally make the biggest impact. And that whole song is about 4 people on a bus going to Mexico, right? You got a teacher, you got a preacher, you got a farmer, and you got a hooker. And they get in a car crash. The preacher, they all die. 3 of the 4 people die. Okay. The farmer dies, leaves behind his farm and his kids. Teacher dies, leaves away all the students. The preacher, before he dies, he hands bloodstained Bible to this hooker. And the whole perspective of this story is being told by a preacher on Sunday, and he held up this bloodstained Bible that his mom had read to him his whole childhood because that preacher gave that hooker the Bible. What you do in this life does matter because you have no idea how many people it's going to impact. Like, it's the butterfly effect. Mm-hmm. You have no idea. If you just go serve someone and give them a glimpse of what good is in this world, that could completely change the trajectory of their life. And so, to your point, is a good life versus a happy life, what impact are you going to make? What impact are your kids going to make because of the way that you interacted and raised and loved them and poured into them and protected them? What impact are you going to make in the corporate world because you just did things different? You didn't do business just to get yours. You did it to serve people. What impact are you going to make in your community by serving, by volunteering, by working with kids? What impact are you going to make? Because the only thing that matters is what you leave behind. And so, to me, that's the goal. Like, that is the goal. When I die and at my funeral and God willing, people are there. I haven't screwed it up so bad that nobody goes. People are there. What do I want them to say? I don't care that they said, oh, he played in the NFL. He was a good football player. Or, hey, he had a nice house. Or, hey, he had a cool car. Or, he dressed really nice. He had nice shoes. No. Like, what did I do and how did I make you feel that benefited you so that you can benefit other people? That's ultimately what we're striving for.
Yeah, it's the cliche of when you're on your deathbed, what did you care about? Or what will you care about on your deathbed? Will you care about the, crazy amount of money that you made, or are you going to care about the people that you were able to impact and that impacted you along the way?
Yeah.
And I don't know how much thought I give to that on a typical day. I get so caught up and so wrapped up in what I've got to get done. And there's value to that, obviously.
Yeah.
Living in the moment and staying present. But there's also value in having a long-term sight of what are the choices that I'm making today, how are they impacting others
and I think though, like it's important to have like the consciousness of mortality too, so that those moments are not so few and far between where it's like, oh yeah, you know what, I gotta go do this, I gotta go serve the community, or I hand out meals, right? Like, hey, we don't know how much time we have here. We have no idea. Like, let's live those moments, whether they're good times, bad times. Let's live those moments like with the understanding that like we have no idea. Like tomorrow could be it. I mean, we just passed 9/11, right? And that was a great reminder that you have no idea when your time has come. No idea. So again, while here, what impact are you going to make?
Yeah. I mentioned him a while back. I had a buddy that passed away in his early 40s earlier this year, and he dedicated his life to serving other people. He was very involved in Boys and Girls Club. He was very involved in youth group, Young Life. Made a huge impact on me in my high school days. And to your point, he used his time here to benefit others, and it benefited him too, right? I don't want to get lost on that he found so much joy in serving other people. He was utilizing his talents and abilities and his passion. It just so happened to manifest itself in ways that truly impacted people, and specifically youth.
Yeah.
But, he's 42 years old and dies in a car wreck. And so it's over just like that. And so that's an example to me of someone who maximized. Did he make millions of dollars a year? No. Did he have the biggest, fanciest car or the biggest, fanciest house? No. But he maximized his days that he was here by pouring into other people. And guess what? He also maximized his days by controlling his own time. Did he control everything? No. But he pursued a career that allowed him to make his own schedule while also benefiting other people. And so to me, we talk about the golden ticket.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week. The golden ticket to me is you find a career that you can benefit other people, you can coordinate your own time, and you can make a living doing it. Will you become a multimillionaire? I don't know. It depends on what you choose. But if you can hit those three things, to me, that's maximizing your time here. And it's going to look different for everybody. Every single person is going to have a different route to whatever. And you may be listening to this, you may be like, that's not what I want. I want the big house. I want the fancy car. If that's you, go for it. If that's what you think is going to provide that, go for it. My opinion is it won't. You're going to get there and you're going to want the next thing. So hopefully you're pouring into other people, because that's where I find the true value. That's where I find true happiness and true joy, is when I am when we're out coaching our kids' teams, and the kids at the end, they're all laughing and hugging, and they never even knew each other before the season. They didn't know who each other were, and they're wanting to come back next year and play. That is joy to me. That is happiness to me. And it did nothing other than me pouring an hour of my week into other people. Did that benefit me financially? No. Does it benefit me? It really only benefits my soul, which to me is a great benefit. I have found that is super valuable.
Yeah. So funny you say that. So this last weekend, we had a full day of sports. Started at 7:30 and we didn't get home until like 8:30 Saturday night. And it was long, but it was the greatest day ever. Because it's crazy, because like, what do you get excited? Like, you order something and it like gets to your house. Like, you got something new. Like, all right, I got a new shipment of supplements, or I got a new weight set, or I got a new whatever it is, right? Like, you're like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Like you're looking forward to it. And then it gets there and you're like, oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Has it ever completely changed your day?
No.
So Saturday, Rocco, my youngest, who his team pretty good, like really good. And they just played terrible. Like they played awful. And they're kinder. So of course I dog cussed them out.
You told them not to come back until they're ready to win?
Yeah, they did 200 up downs after the game. I made their parents stand and watch, and I told the parents it was their fault.
So if you're not going to take this serious, I'm not coming back this week.
Yeah. I actually made the parents do up downs
parents they're soft.
But and it was weird. And that game was that, and then we went to a volleyball game, but I just remember watching Rocco. Even though he's losing, he was still having fun. And I was out there, and it was like, there was points where I was like getting frustrated because I was like, guys, we've done this 100 times, and you've done it right 95 times. And it's like, why are we doing this? Except for literally today. And, but then I'm watching them like, gosh, they're still having a blast. Like, that's the only thing that's important. And literally, the game was bad, and then Gia's team, they lost. But I'm like watching her, and like, the only conversation I was like, babe, did you have fun doing that? She goes, yeah, it was so fun. I wish we would have won, but like it was so fun. And like it eased kind of the two losses because you don't want to see your kids lose. Right. So then we go to Luca's game. And that was the one I was like, this could be really bad because like they're kind of hit or miss, right? They're like, it's a really good group of kids that we've had together, but it's like some days they're on, some days they're off. And dude, they were on. But here's the coolest part, man, is there were 3 kids on the team that if you'd have asked me on Friday, are they ever going to make a catch or score a touchdown? I'd have been like, no chance ever. Bro, all of them had either big catches for big yards or scored a touchdown. And I'm telling you, that completely changed my day. Not because it was for me. I mean, who cares? 8-year-olds win a flag football game. Care less about that. Bro, the joy that I saw that those kids had, like the fact that like we called a play and he got, and also there's just one kid, his family just moved here from Portland. And we've been back and forth with this one. And like he gets really anxious. So he kind of forgets his play when he goes up to the line. And like he's been working and working and working. And at the beginning of the season, I don't think he could catch a football. And he runs a route, dude, and scores. And to see him, to see his parents, like literally the joy that he had, the joy his parents had, the joy his team had for him, man. My day, dude, there was nothing that you could have done for the most part that could have taken that joy away. And I'm telling you, and it had nothing to do with me. It had to do with seeing these boys. And literally, like we're praying at the end. It was pretty cool too because we prayed out with the players and with the cheerleaders, and it was this big whole deal. But literally, I got choked up like before the prayer just because I was so grateful for that day and what those boys got to experience. And it had nothing to do with me. Like, yeah, I was out there, but like had nothing to do. It was totally them. And that's the feeling when you go out and you serve others. Like that's the feeling that you get. So you're in a rut, you're in like a valley, and it's just a grind, and you're like, I don't know how to get out of it. Like sometimes just stop worrying about yourself, go worry about someone else. Like get a taste of that joy again, because that's the feeling you get when you change somebody else's day.
Yeah, I've found in the pursuit of happiness, the times I miss it.
You quoting Kid Cudi?
Yeah. Or the movie, Will Smith, R.I.P.
Who's the other? Anyways.
Yeah, in my pursuit of happiness, a lot of times I try to seek that happiness through things that I want to achieve and things I want to accomplish. And it's but it's mostly whenever I'm pursuing things for the benefit of others, that's when I find the true happiness and the true joy.
Yeah.
And that's why serving is so important. That's why, pouring into others is so important. Again, yes, you're impacting that person, but the impact that it has on you is unbelievable.
You know what's crazy though? Honestly, that's a proof to me 2 things. One is there's a creator, and then 2 is that we're not in control. Because if we really controlled our lives exactly how we wanted it, I think we would all be miserable.
Yeah.
Like It's all these other things. And that's what I say. I think there's a creator, right, that's sovereign over the whole, everything that happens in some way or another. But it's like these opportunities come into our lives that we have no control over, that it's like, gosh, man,
Yeah.
it's amazing.
Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I just wanted to clarify in this pursuit, because I think most of us are after a good life, and after a life that provides joy, and after a life that provides happiness. And I think the way you go about it's probably going to look a little bit different. But I certainly don't want the message to be, hey, pursue your passion always and only look out for yourself, because I think you're missing out on a big component of that joy that can be found through the service of others.
Yeah. And look, there's seasons, and Darren would be a huge advocate for this, but there's seasons where it's like, I've got to buckle down and I've got to focus on me. Yeah. And I've got to focus on getting myself right, or I've got to focus on growth, or I've got to focus on whatever it is. There are seasons where that is what is needed. And I get that and I recognize that. But I think ultimately, if we have a mindset of pursuing something that's bigger than just our wants and desires, that sets you up to have a good life, not just a happy life.
Actually, I heard a good quote the other day, and it was, spend the mornings working on yourself so that you can spend the rest of the day gifting it to others.
I like that.
And I thought that was an amazing perspective to what you just said. Darren would say there are seasons of life where you have to develop yourself. Yeah. And that can maybe we can take that too far, but there's value in that, because the more I can develop myself, the more I can now give it to others. And so that's how I see my day on a micro scale. If I can take care of myself in the morning, now I can spend the rest of my day taking care of others.
And that's what you talk about, team and tribe, right? There's times where, yes, that's the case, where, you know what? You're now allowing someone else to gift you with what they have worked on. Like Tiffany and I's story. There was a season where she had to fully support me because she was capable of that. She'd been prepared. She had prepared herself. She had been prepared to be able to support me so that I could go through this selfish phase of preparing for what was next, right? So that I could ultimately then gift her and support her. Yeah. So, I mean, again, it's a crazy, crazy world, but ultimately I think if you are looking through a lens that, like, you're not the center of the world and what you want is not the most important thing ever, and you're thinking about other people and like, hey, look, how can I just give something to somebody else? Small, big, doesn't matter. If you look at that like, hey, there's something bigger than me, I think you're on the right path.
Yeah, this life's fascinating, man. It's hard, it's complicated, it's joyful. There's just so much to it, and it's fun to figure it out. It's fun to learn and grow. So appreciate you guys. Before we jump out of here, do want to thank our partners, Sleep Number. Get yourself to a Sleep Number store, sleepnumber.com. I don't know if you saw the Dak Prescott
actually, Tiff was watching it while she was still awake during the game. She was like, that's actually a really cool commercial.
Yeah, so if you want
the Cowboys, this was the Cowboys Bucks game. Yeah. It was rough. Yeah. If you made it through it, actually, luckily the commercial was pretty early on, but it was pretty cool. But again, Sleep Number, and I've talked to Dak about this, and like he's not just like pushing a product. He lives on his Sleep Number bed, and he really does take his recovery seriously. They talked about on the TV copy of the game, we call it TV copy, or anyways, is they talked about, broadcast was what I was looking for, is how he's really kind of transitioned to a lot of, like, not the TB12 stuff, but a lot of the functionality, mobility, nutrition, recovery, and recovery is a big component of that, and he recognizes that. But again, Sleep Number, the official partner of the NFL, there's a reason. Yep. It's not just because they're paying the most. There's a reason, because it impacts the players.
If it's good enough for Dak, who can literally afford anything he wants, it's good enough for you. So get yourself to sleepnumber.com or Sleep Number store. And then also our friends at Choctaw Casino and Resort, our longest running partner of the One Shot podcast. We're going to be up there.
You talk about like serving others. Like, and this is a tribe. This is a tribe that,
in the literal sense,
is literally has built this organization, business, this resort to be able to serve others. Mm-hmm. And that is the foundation of what they do is to, we're going to provide the Choctaw people and Choctaw Nation with all of these. And then not only that, I mean, you think about all the jobs and all that they're creating, the nonprofits. I mean, they do so much in the nonprofit space. Yes, go up, have a great time. It's luxurious, it's fun, it's easy to get to, and anything you want to do, you can do. So be selfish, go up there, but by being selfish, you are then contributing to Choctaw Nation, who is then taking those resources and spreading it out to the masses.
Amen. All right, guys, appreciate you. Have a great rest of the day, great weekend. We will see you next week.